This is going to be a swinging motion. I like this because arm swing is very important for walking, running, and for jumping. So I have 2 light weights in my hand. Early on, this is a little awkward. So the first thing I have people do, and I'll kind of show you from the side and from the front, is you want to try and let your arms hang loose, and you want to feel like you're not really working from your shoulders to make the weights move. So nice and easy, and you're going to see my head kind of helps move the weight. So my head is going to go forward as the weight goes behind me. A big part of this is that the more the weight goes back, the more momentum I have for it to swing forward. So if anything, you want to think about the weight going behind you, which will then kind of lift it up in front of you. So early on, especially if this is awkward, I just want to see that the arms are kind of loose, even if it's a small swing, that just the momentum of my head kind of going forward takes the weight back, and then starts to allow the weight from going back to going in front. So from here, I want to see if I can start to let it go a little higher, more like shoulder height. So I let the weight go back further, so that it has the room to ride up without my arms really doing anything. Now my hips are a big part of this, right? So you see that as the weight goes back and my head goes forward, my hips go back. The other piece to this is I want to make sure that my hips come back underneath me. So I get a lot of people when they start doing it, their hips go back and they kind of stay back. So I do want to make sure that my hips kind of drive back under me to drive the weight up. One other little subtle thing is that as I'm bringing my hips underneath me, I really don't want to see a big arch in my back this way. So, a lot of little things to consider, but as the weight comes up, I want my hips to come under me, but I don't want them to slide excessively. So sometimes, if I see that, I'll have someone kind of bring their chin down a little bit to stop those hips from going too far, right? So low to start, and then a little bit more momentum. Like I said, really think about getting the weights behind you because that lifts them up in front of you. We can come all the way up, which is not a bad thing to do, and I actually do most of the time when I'm warming up with a light weight. I wouldn't do this with something heavy, but it is a nice little easy way to get some shoulder mobility. You want to watch at the top, same thing, the higher I go, the more this is going to want to happen. But I can progress to the arms going all the way up, but it shouldn't feel like my shoulders are doing it. It should feel like that momentum of the weight going back just lifts it up. And then last piece, I'll add a little stepping motion into this. So I get the weights going, and then I'm going to go back with the weight. Okay, either overhead or just the shoulder height. And you see my butt goes back, and my butt comes underneath me. It's funny, the overhead actually makes it kind of easier because same thing, more momentum that weight swings through. One little added piece, I've had some people with shoulder instability where they feel like this is kind of just like a drag on their arm. I do want to feel like I'm a little bit tense, meaning that as the weight comes down, I don't want it to really just yank my arms out of my body, right? Especially as I'm going up here, I don't want to just let it kind of drop. So there is a little bit of me kind of, not necessarily tensing a lot, but a little bit of muscle control to it so that when I come down, I'm supporting the weight as it comes down, I guess is the best way for me to say it. It's not this, right? It's a little bit of me. As soon as that weight comes down, I'm guiding it back behind me. Great activity for a warm-up or for a lot of people who are stiff in their mid-back and shoulders.